Beings of pure chaos, the serpentine Proteans slither through the anarchic improbabilities of limbo, remaking reality according to their whims. According to their own history, they were already here when the first gods pulled forth other planes from raw chaos, and they have been battling against the indignity ever since. Hereditary and ideological enemies of Axis, Heaven, and Hell, especially the residents of those planes, all Proteans see it as their sacred duty to return the bland, static expanses of mundane reality to the beautiful incongruities of limbo, for the plane's own good, and for the greater glory of their mysterious god, a dualistic deity which may be a living aspect of limbo itself. They are limbo's living, breathing immune system, rooting out infections of mundanity and replacing them with beautiful entropy. Primeval in shape and philosophy, Proteans are the race that most perfectly embodies the twin aspects of creation and destruction, although certain aeons may contest this claim. Even their language is mutable, evolving so quickly that few outsiders can understand it without delayed. Ecological study is nearly impossible, as reproduction can take a wide variety of forms, from sexual unions to fission to spontaneous generation. Despite their deceptively similar natural appearances, the two things that truly unify Protean races are slavish devotion to their strange god and a fervent desire for the dissolution of reality as we know it. Many Proteans, particularly the EnLiGhTeNmEnts, have the ability to create and manipulate ripples in reality known as warp waves. Yet, even a Protean can't predict what effect a warp wave might have. When a creature is affected by a warp wave, you simply have to roll the dice to see what sort of crazy thing might happen to them. While Proteans may seem extremely disorganized from the outside, they actually have several sub-races and caste systems, each with its own individual ability and role. Other Proteans than the four presented here doubtless exist, but they do not interact with other races nearly to the extent that these four types do. Voidworm. This tiny iridescent serpent slithers through empty space. The air around it distorts as if from heat. Debate rages as to whether or not this strange, capricious creature called a voidworm is actually a Protean at all. To wizards and sorcerers who summon them as familiars, the answer seems obvious. These tiny dwellers of limbo have all the requisite racial abilities of Proteans. Yet the established Protean castes find such claims outright insulting, claiming instead that it is such acts of conjurations that call voidworms forth from the raw stuff of limbo, giving them the shape and life according to the spellcaster's expectations, and that these lesser beings are but a pale reflection of their formidable kin. Voidworms themselves have little to say on the matter. Creatures of the moment and sparing little for the constant mutable concept of reality, voidworms only barely grasp cause and effect, and the past for their sake might as well be a dream. In order to gain a voidworm familiar, the spellcaster must be extremely chaotic. The spellcaster must do its best to continually entertain the voidworm throughout its adventure, lest it becomes bored and wanders off. Regardless of their actual origins, voidworms maintain a thriving ecology in the chaos of limbo. They form together into darting, flashing schools that often number in hundreds. They're often hunted for sports by nautics and other predators of chaos. Mortal wizards, however, most commonly encounter voidworms as summoned familiars. These tiny serpentine creatures are particularly valued by illusionists and evokers and other magical practitioners that deal with distorting or molding reality, though the familiar's bizarre logic and minuscule attention span sometimes make them more trouble than they're worth. Still, their confusing attack and remarkable hardiness has saved more than one wizard on the battlefield, and their strange thought processes can sometimes offer unique insights in the laboratory. When travelling in more mundane lands, wizards often order their voidworm familiar to change shape into something more ordinary, like a pet or an animal, though these disguises tend to slip up when the voidworm grows curious or playful. Voidworms are only about 2 feet in length and weigh about 2 pounds. No two voidworms are alike in their colorations or markings. Their 2 feathery wings generally take on brighter colours than the rest of their body, and in the case of voidworms conjured as familiars, these wings are the same colour as their master's eyes. Nornet. Tentacles tipped with snapping jaws emerge from this serpentine creature's back, complementing the vicious maw on its reptilian face. Far more bestial than their kin, Nornets are the lowest caste of the true Proteans. the shock troops of their race and roving marauders in the cause of chaos. Primarily found in the shifting borderlands between Limbo and other planes, Nornits are driven half insane by the stability and stasis of such areas. They frequently rampage throughout the edges of other planes, tearing up the very fabric of reality and returning vast swaths of land to beautiful formless potential of their home. A Nornit is about 12 feet long and can weigh up to 900 pounds. In Mantis, this serpentine creature has the lower body of a snake, a humanoid torso, and a bird-like head with claws. Missionaries of chaos and heralds of reality's eventual unraveling, Immaneshes are the Proteans most likely to be encountered outside of Limbo. Despite their sometimes loquacious and courtly manner, Imantesh's entropic agenda is forever at the front of their minds, and this inherent madness is evident as the soft telepathic whispers that constantly surround them threaten to warp the minds of those weak-willed. An Imantesh is about 15 feet long and weighs 1,200 pounds. Keytar. Colours dance over this serpentine creature's scales. A strange crown of energy glows above the thing's reptilian head. Priests and prophets, Keytars are often leaders of their race, guiding Proteans in their sacred mission to return all existence to primal chaos. Because of their chaotic nature, their individual personalities vary greatly. Though their forms are extremely mutable, Keytars can always be recognized thanks to their eyes that glow amber or violet and the floating crown of swirling energy that changes above them. This crown is often covered in symbols that change over time. Organized into cabals called choruses, Keytars seek only to understand and follow the will of entropy itself. A Keytar's most powerful ability is for it to create illusions that actually have real-world effects, making them an extremely dangerous foe to face. Although a Keytar's form can change at will, it usually will be found around 10 feet long and weigh over 1,000 pounds. Check the description of this video to find some stat blocks for these unique monsters for your next 5th edition game.